Hello, Compact Disc, my old friend. Welcome back to the Music Zeitgeist. CD sales are on the rise for the first time in decades, fueled not just by nostalgia, but by their supreme audio quality and the practicality of buying a piece of physical media one time and owning it for life. Or until you play it so many times, the CD literally shatters. RIP in pieces to all my fallen angels. Today, I'll take you on a tour through my entire collection of more than 375 CDs, a set that started back in 2005 when I got into music, but then restarted in 2009 with my day one purchase of 21st Century Breakdown by Green Day at Best Buy, back when they still sold physical media. Hey neighbor, it's Jon from ARTV, finally back with my full CD collection tour that's been requested for a long time now and I'm finally doing. And if you're wondering where I stand on the whole jewel case versus cardboard sleeve debate, it's neither. It's the digipack that reigns supreme, and I will not hear anything less. Jewel cases crack too easily, cardboard sleeves are just boring and hard to stack. The digipack is the perfect hybrid. My sponsor CoolGeek hooked me up with their cable-free M1 portable CD player, which I've been testing and loving for the past month. The rechargeable battery gives up to 8 hours of playback time, and it's been super easy to pair with my Bose Bluetooth speakers. I feel like a kid in a candy store with the ability to play CDs wherever I can carry this thing, like even my neighbor's fence, because I need them to appreciate Deftones as much as I do. The set comes with a dust cover that's pretty good about not showing fingerprints, and it comes with the gear to hang it on a wall if that's more your style, and there's even an aux hookup if you prefer that over Bluetooth. You'll see the M1 in action throughout the video as I pop some of my best looking discs in the player, and if you want to buy one of CoolGeek's M1 portable audio CD players for yourself, use the link in the description or the pinned comment with code ARTV to get 10% off your purchase. Alright, we're going in alphabetical order through my collection A to Z, so dunk that like button for me, subscribe if you're new, and let's get started. Would you look at that? First in the collection, it's a digipack. It's the Aces with When My Heart Felt Volcanic. This to me is why the digipack reigns supreme. You can see that it's got the outside cardboard sleeve, but inside you've got plastic backing, which is really nice to keep this thing from cracking and also standing the test of time when you're storing it. I'm almost positive that everybody bought a copy of Adele's 25 back in 2015 because it sold more than 3 million first week in the States alone. AFI December Underground, released in 2006, I remember begging my mom to take me to Circuit City so I could sneak in under the guise of buying something for school, but I went in and bought this album and the self-titled Wolfmother album, which I no longer have, but I have this one tatted on me for life. This is my mini stack of all-time lows partial discography, starting with Put Up or Shut Up. No, I don't want to talk about the fact that this EP turned 20 years old this year. I feel that one in my knees. So Wrong, It's Right. This does have the slide-out cover, which I don't always love, but it works pretty well on this one, as well as Nothing Personal, which remains one of my top 3 albums from ATL. Dirty Work, I did buy a CD of. I didn't love it at the time, but this album has grown on me over the years. And then we have cardboard sleeves for my favorite all-time low album, Don't Panic, as well as Future Hearts. The All-American Rejects, Move Along, still a no-skip album and their best. I'm not as big of an Alt-J fan as I was in the early to mid-2010s, but I do have the digipack editions of An Awesome Wave, as well as This Is All Yours. Fortress is hands down the best Alter Bridge album, so consistent throughout with all of the band members firing on all rock cylinders. Wild that this is the only Angels and Airwave merch that I own in any way, but I have Love Parts 1 and 2. Really having to work hard to separate the art from the artist over here, but I do have love for both of these Ariana Grande albums, in particular her debut full-length Yours Truly, and also Dangerous Woman from 2016. Criminally underrated album, this is Atlas Genius with When It Was Now. We're not even going to talk about that new disaster of an EP from Avenged Sevenfold because But we do have some steps back in time that make it worthwhile remembering what was great about this band. This was my introduction, City of Evil. Hey, you. I've got the first 3 Avril Lavigne albums on CD. And, the best damn thing, nowhere near the quality of the first 2, in particular, the GOAT, Under My Skin. This is balance and composure, the things we think we're missing. And I think you're missing a jewel case, a digipack edition of the band Ballyhoo with their album Daydreams from 2011. This could very well be the most important CD in my entire collection. I know you're wondering, why is 10 of the best songs, the greatest hits compilation from the Beach Boys, something so important? This is really what branched me out into quote-unquote secular music as somebody who was forced into a Southern Baptist upbringing. My parents did allow me to listen to this band, and I got this CD, I think I was 9 or 10. This was in my Easter basket, and I never looked back after hearing Good Vibrations. From the dream pop duo Beach House, I have 2 of their CDs, Teen Dream, which looks like it's been airbrushed into oblivion over here. You can't see the detail with the light, but thank your lucky stars as well. What in the jigsaw puzzle is going on over here? This is Beartooth's Disgusting, unfolding like it's a damn atlas from 1984. There's the CD. It's tucked in there. Look at that. It's like a little spider hiding away inside of a deep web. The Beatles won. Of course, you probably know this compilation. All of their biggest hits live here. Got a couple of Beck albums. This is Midnight Vultures, a late 90s underappreciated classic that's just zany and weird and so much fun, as well as the album that won out at the Grammys Album of the Year over the likes of Kanye. This is Morning Face. This is the very lo-fi surf rock leaning debut album from Best Coast, Crazy for You, and Best Coast, I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce's Lemonade was one of the best albums of all of 2016. All of 2016. How are the Black Keys gonna do me like this? They got Brothers over here in a very nice digipack, very clean, very smooth. And then you've got El Camino over here looking like another map unfolding where I have to play this game of whack-a-mole to see which sleeve the CD is actually in. I unfortunately perma-damaged my copy of Dude Ranch, but from Blink-182, I've got a big old stack of their albums, starting with Cheshire Cat. We have, of course, the seminal album Enema of the State, back-to-back with the recently turned 25 Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. I think their best album, The Untitled from 2003, I still absolutely love this artwork. And we've got some of the recent stuff as well. I know it's more divisive, but I would say at this point, unbelievably, I think this is a top 3 album from Blink. This is Neighborhoods. And then the Matt Skiba era, we have the 10-year-old California. And yes, I have 9 too. Here's a mini spread from one of my favorite bands of all time, the emo group Brand New, starting with Deja Entendu. Then we have the classic Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me. This is Daisy, which did get a jewel case, unlike Devil and God for some reason. And then back to the cardboard sleeve for the new classic Science Fiction. This is a solo album from Killer's frontman Brandon Flowers, The Desired Effect. It's Hello Fascination by Breathe Carolina. I really don't remember buying this Bring Me the Horizon album. This is Amo, but I was just remembering, That's the Spirit, Sempiternal, I think their best album, but this one was great as well. Bruno Mars, Unorthodox Jukebox. Dopamine by Borns, a debut album that is just very fun. The first 2 full-length albums by the English rock band Boston Manor, their more pop-punk leaning debut album Be Nothing, and their masterpiece Welcome to the Neighborhood, released in 2018. Hey, it's the Blink-182 side project Boxcar Racer with their only album, unfortunately, the self-titled, which is damn great. Oh, Brian Stars, my beloved, it's the signed copy of the Follow Your Dreams EP, and it's a digipack, my man, out here just laying it all on the line. We need that acoustic version from the EP, stat. Bush with their debut album 16 Stone. I know this grunge band can kinda get some backlash and hate for riding off the coattails of other bands of the era like Nirvana and Pearl Jam, but I still do enjoy this album even if it's nowhere near the heights of those other titans. Cage the Elephant were, and in many ways still are, a very important alternative rock band for me and my music taste. Thank You, Happy Birthday, and one of my favorite albums of all time, Melophobia. Pop stands, get ready to explode. It's Carly Rae Jepsen with Emotion, and also a signed copy of Emotion Side B. Carly Rae's best work, hands down. Whatever happened to this band? Catfish and the Bottlemen? This is their debut album, The Balcony. I really did like this album, but I have not listened to it in ages. From the electronic rock world, I have Cell Dwellers' Wish Upon a Black Star. This came out in 2012. This is the final album, Moth, by Chairlift, a duo that had a lot of success in the indie realm, but Caroline Polachek going solo just made things even better. From Charlie XCX, I have her debut album, True Romance, and the much detested, at least among the fandom, album Sucker. I happen to really like this album, okay? I'm the resident alt-rock guy, of course I'm gonna prefer Sucker. Severely overlooked album and band, this is Guppy by Charlie Bliss. Perfect timing because Go is huge now. It's the Chemical Brothers' Born in the Echoes. This is the album when I was like really getting into them, and it was the first one that came out like after me becoming a fan. Okay, it's Childish Gambino, homegirl. Drop it like the NASDAQ. We've got the Digipack edition of the debut album Camp from Donald Glover, of course, the rapper musician who went on to expand his sound a lot. I also have this kind of trifold, gatefold edition that has the holographic lenticular cover. Depending on which way you turn it, you're gonna see something different, and I actually really do like this copy of the CD, even if it's hard to fold up. Churches, My Beloved, it's the first time that I've gotten to show you love in a little while, but this is their debut album, The Bones of What You Believe, and its follow-up, I believe this is the Digipack. No, I'm wrong. It's Every Open Eye with Every Open Gatefold. This is the one I was thinking of for the Digipack. It's Citizen with As You Please. We were able to get this signed by the entire band lineup, at least at that time. Back-to-back Digipacks? What did I do to deserve this good fortune? This is Cloud Nothings with Here and Nowhere Else. Oh, let me just pick up my big old unwieldy stack of Coldplay CDs over here. Yeah, I'm a pretty cool guy, okay? 7 Coldplay albums on CD. Read them and weep. Parachutes, yeah, we got it covered. A Rush of Blood to the Head, of course, it's a no-brainer. And then the follow-up, X and Y, this was my introduction to the band, thanks to the single Speed of Sound and Talk. Then we have their magnum opus, Viva La Vida, or Death and All His Friends, Milo Xylodo. Think I said it right finally. I finally got it down. This one's the one that's hard to get out. This is Ghost Stories by Coldplay. Why the hell was the title track Ghost Story left off of this album? It's literally probably the best song here. Oh yeah, and I also have A Head Full of Dreams. I don't even really like this album that much anymore. You gotta drop a comment if you know this next one. The Crash Kings, anyone? Creeper, Eternity in Your Arms, one of my favorite punk records of the past decade. You ever just sometimes sit and think, but sometimes just sit? Well, then I've got the album for you from Courtney Barnett. Why did you have to leave us, Daft Punk? But thank God, if you were gonna leave us on a note of any kind, the final full-length album, Random Access Memories. This thing is a masterpiece. It came out in 2013. I'll never forget the summer of Get Lucky. But come on, dig into the deep cuts. I'm talking Contact. That song makes me feel like I'm going to space. Fragments of Time. There's so much. Guys, I was blown away. What can I say? One of the pinnacles, the cornerstones of my collection. It's Daughtry with his debut album, their debut album, Daughtry. A Day to Remember's Fight for Independence album that's so angry and so justified. This is Common Courtesy. Unfortunately, only have one album from the Dead Weather. This is Dodge and Burn, if you're not familiar. Alison Mosshart, of course. Jack White is in this band too. Death Cab for Cutie with a misunderstood, a little bit underrated effort from 2015, Kintsugi. I was largely unfamiliar with Death from Above 1979 when they made their grand comeback with this amazing effort, The Physical World. But when I tell you I got so into this, I mean, Gemini, Government Trash, the single Trainwreck 1979, this thing is a blast, full throttle to listen to. Both of these Deftones records are recent purchases because I realized I have almost all of their albums on vinyl now, but almost zero CDs. So I changed that by buying the self-titled album, one that the band themselves don't like, but I do love, and my AOTY for 2025, private music, and also, you know, snack. Lose Yourself to Dance with the DNCE Joe Jonas self-titled album, another one that I have not listened to, and I couldn't tell you how long, but certainly summer of 2016, this CD got some plays. The only Ed Sheeran album I have, Multiply, or X. Don't really listen to much Eminem anymore, but I do have Curtain Call, The Hits, which I certainly think is worth holding on to, and Kamikaze, an album that I liked a lot in 2018, but I do not think it's aged very well. It sounds very, very bitter. A pair of records from Ellie Goulding from the UK, Lights, her debut album, and its follow-up, Halcyon. Figure 8 in particular is the perfect example of like dubstep being everywhere at the time, but really working to the pop song's advantage. I don't even want to show the next one, but yeah, I bought a copy of the Escape the Fate self-titled album back in the day. It's so funny how the alphabet works, right? We've got Escape the Fate in frame with everything, because they come back to back in my collection. This band could not be any more different. In fact, this is an all-time favorite of mine, Get to Heaven. It's ridiculously infectious. I don't gotta explain Fall Out Boy to most of you, but here we go. My favorite maybe of the bunch in terms of packaging, because I'm so biased towards the Digipack. This is Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. No, it's not. That's Take This to Your Grave. Take This to Your Grave from Under the Cork Tree, the album that I really credit with fully getting me into like the pop punk world at the time. This was a no skips album and remains that way. Infinity on High. My wife is only, username Infinity on Hannah. Of course, I've always had like a connection to this album that just got even deeper as the decades went by. We have their Live in Phoenix CD DVD combo, my personal favorite Fall Out Boy album, Fully Adieu, a madness shared by two. And then we have American Beauty, American Psycho also. Father John Misty came down the mountain to hand down the 10 Commandments, and the 10th of those was I Love You, Honey Bear. Listen, I got my feet on the ground, and I don't sleep on Fiona Apple when I dream or when I'm awake during the day. It's her debut album, Title, which I just dropped on the ground. Win the Pawn. I cannot say the entire title for the sake of length. We've got Extraordinary Machine and also The Idler Wheel. The Idler Wheel is wiser than the driver of the screw, and whipping cords will serve you more than ropes will ever do. Totally didn't just read that off the CD at all. Knew that, baked into my head, of course. Biggest Fiona stan of all time over here. Of course, I've copped a classic in Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. What is there to even say about this record other than every single song is gold? Florence and the Machine, How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful. Just a few from the Foos. It's the Digipack edition of one of their most acclaimed albums, The Color and the Shape. I also have their greatest hits collection because it's a fantastic one. I don't always love full-length Foo Fighters albums, but the singles most of the time speak for themselves, and I think their best work, my personal favorite album of theirs by a comfortable margin, Wasting Light. Foster the People have had a pretty strange career, but I think overall it's really worked out for them. I've gotten to see them live twice, and they've been fantastic both times in different eras. I saw them during the Torches era, and that show was at Bonnaroo 2012, and I also saw them last year at Wonderfront Festival in San Diego. Pop punk and easy core band 4 years strong with their 2015 self-titled album. I don't know if you're aware of this, but you could have it so much better. Franz Ferdinand put out an incredible self-titled debut album, don't get me wrong, but they one up to themselves literally a year later. Also from 2005, The Fray with How to Save a Life. Some Nights was looked at as a sellout by some, but it was my introduction to the band as a full-length album. I had only heard one track from Aim and Ignite, and that was Walking the Dog, thanks to Tap Tap Revenge 3. The man, the myth, the legend, Gerard Way with the lone solo full-length album. This is Hesitant Alien. Electronic duo The Glitch Mob and Drink the Sea on the Digipack edition. Haven't even opened Demon Days by Gorillaz yet because the plastic is so frustrating. Come on. I want to listen to Demon Days on CD, but I feel like I'm going to have to smash it on the ground like a wine bottle to get what's inside. Here's the other Gorillaz album that I have, Humans. Okay, I know I joked about the Coldplay stack, but I'm having some trouble over here with Green Day. Oh boy. Can we fit it all in frame? I believe we can. This is the Green Day collection. Of course, going in order of release, we have first 1039 Smoothed Out Slappy Hours, their major breakthrough, the Diamond Certified Dookie. Following that was Insomniac in 1995. Nimrod is a damn classic. Come on, this album has so many cuts, including the final one, Prosthetic Head, that are just immensely overlooked. This is Warning. You want to say underrated? Don't say it on the Green Day subreddit, okay? Because Warning is underrated. We've got international super hits from Green Day. I have 2 copies of American Idiot. Who would have guessed that I've got both the Jewel Case edition, which is my long-running copy, and when I think Revolution Radio came out, I picked up, because I got the CD booklet for that one, I've got the full-on book here with the CD stored in the back. This is the Digipack edition of Bullet in a Bible, their live concert documentary, behind the scenes, everything from the American Idiot era, and the album that they followed up a rock opera with an even bigger all-out rock opera. I don't think it's better, but 21st Century Breakdown features some songs that I will be tethered to for life, including Restless Heart Syndrome, that's only gotten more relatable the older I get and the more I see through the bullshit of, say, the pharmaceutical industry. Awesome as fuck. The live album, The Drunk Bunny, come on, better times. Cannot believe that was 15 years ago. And I also cannot believe that it's pretty much been 15 years since the trilogy. The real fans, I think we can be honest with ourselves and admit that no matter how much we love this band, this was overcooked and there did not need to be 3 albums plus a live album. I'm glad this one finally came in, but I am kind of bummed since I ordered the box set for this that we get something a little bit flimsier for Quattro, the DVD and the watch there. We've got the Digipack backing there, but I much prefer these books. But wait, there's more! Revolution Radio CD booklet. I told you it was coming, and here we go. I really do love this. It represented a very special year for me, and I think a lot of us are extremely nostalgic. And also there's a copy of Father of All Motherfuckers. We don't have to talk about it, okay? I don't have saviors yet. We'll get to it someday. Greta Van Fleet, The Battle at Garden's Gate. Painted Ruins by the fantastic indie band Grizzly Bear. I did not realize I had this much good Charlotte. I don't even really like this band. What are we doing here? Was I gifted some of these? I don't want to be in love. Why do I have these? Excellent album from Gautier here, Making Mirrors. Group Love, Never Trust a Happy Song. The first 4 songs on this album, man. I remember the night that I heard all of those and was like, I have to buy the album, but it is the Digipack edition, so it's got that going for it. Somebody get their Digipack counter going in the comments because we've got the Digipack edition of Hailstorm, The Strange Case Of. Sister Act Haim with their debut album, Days Are Gone. Harry Styles with his self-titled debut album, Harold Styles on, you guessed it, Digipack edition! I have both of my CDs by Hoodie Allen signed. He was much more of a rapper at this point in his career. This is All American and People Keep Talking. I bought this album the first time that I saw Hot Mulligan live, and that was a while ago. I'm feeling very old. I feel that in my bones. It's their debut album, Pilot. Iggy Pop's post-pop depression is one of my favorite things that the man, the living legend, has ever done. He worked with Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age and Kaya's fame, so who would have guessed that I do love this album because him and Dean Fertitta were largely involved with the entirety of the production. I have a pair of Incubus CDs, my favorite album, Morning View, and Monuments and Melodies. This is their greatest hits compilation, and it's one that I'm glad that I have. If you like anagrams, you're gonna love this album. It's El Pentor by the post-punk band Interpol. And if you're wondering what the hell does El Pentor mean when translated, it actually means Digipack. Haven't exactly hidden away my love for Jack White, great, but I have hit away my love for his packaging, the way that he does records and CDs in particular. We start with his debut solo album released in 2012, Blunderbuss. This is the only jewel case that I have, and the reason I wanted to focus on Jack in particular is because of the variety of the CDs. We have the Digipack edition of Lazaretto. It certainly has a very smooth cover. I can't explain it, okay? You have to feel it for yourself, but certain albums have that texture that's just incredible. It makes you want to stem with it all day. This one has it as well. This is Jack White with his acoustic recordings, and it's probably my favorite gatefold, whatever you would call it in the CD world. It does have the digipacks, and as we unfold it here, there's nothing complicated. This is exactly how it should be. You've got a swivel door in the middle for lyrics and everything like that, but as you can see, we've got both discs on opposite sides, and this incredible back panel too. This is Boarding House Reach, a digipack edition, but hold your horses there. This one's different, okay? If we can see the details in the packaging, it almost looks more like something that you would get from a DVD or a Blu-ray experience, but it's packaged in there so nicely, and you can see the backing here. It's a little different than your standard. Jimmy Eat World have been so damn consistent in the alternative and emo space, and I'm so happy to see their continued success. I have both Futures and Surviving on CD. Rapper Joey Badass with his second full-length album, All American Badass. It's got the slide-out edition here, jewel case, right back in. Look at that, this one also slides out. Continuum, I think John Mayer's best solo album. I don't know why I said solo album. What are we counting, Dead & Company albums over here? Battle Studies, also by John Mayer. We've got a fascinating band here from the UK, The Joy Formidable, with, I believe, their second full-length album, Wolf's Law. Julian Baker's debut album, Sprained Ankle. From Casey Musgraves, a country and pop artist, I swear, I also have a copy of Golden Hour. I think her elite magnum opus. It's somewhere. I have the vinyl, cannot find my CD. So here is Same Trailer, Different Park, and perhaps her most country album, the one that followed this, Pageant Material. Damn, damn, damn. It's a goddamn shame that I don't have more CDs from Kendrick Lamar, but I do have my personal favorite. This was a life-changing record for me, Good Kid, Mad City. Its follow-up to his magnum opus, To Pimp a Butterfly. The leftover sessions that are still fantastic, Untitled, Unmastered, and his most commercial album, sure, but also an undeniable one, Damn. This was pop star Kesha's comeback album from 2017, Rainbow. God, I miss these old piracy warnings. I wouldn't download a car, right? But I would apparently cracked the jewel case right across the middle for my copy of Hot Fuss by The Killers. Of course, that's not all I have from The Killers. I also have maybe my favorite album from them now, Sam's Town, Day and Age by The Killers as well. I've always loved the artwork for this. And then Wonderful Wonderful. I don't know how I feel about this album at this point. I really didn't realize I had 4 Kings of Leon CDs, but a girl that I dated in like the early 2010s was a huge fan. I ended up getting into them more as a result of that. Youth and Young Manhood, their debut album. We also have Because of the Times. I think this is their best full-length effort. I also have Only by the Night. This was their commercial breakthrough. And I also bought a copy of Walls. Here's the debut self-titled album by Kitten. The wave of nostalgia I felt just picking up this album. It's 55 by production duo The Knox. I only have 1 Korn album. That's surprising to me. I thought I would have had a couple of others, but it's The Paradigm Shift. This was nowhere near as popular as LaRue's debut full-length album, but Trouble in Paradise, to me, is a much better effort. Very 80s coded, so if you're into that and alternative music and pop at all, you gotta throw this thing on. A trio of albums from the legendary pop artist Lady Gaga. This is her debut album, The Fame. I also have the misunderstood but now kind of beloved Art Pop, and my personal favorite, oh no, we're going on record with hot takes again, this is Joanne. It's her most personal by far. A classic album here. We have Led Zeppelin 2. Oh, it's been a minute, but I think we got a digipack on our hands. There it is. It's Lights with a very, very MySpace-coded EP. It's Not Me, It's You. I think this is Lily Allen's best album. Here's my entire Linkin Park CD collection, all of the albums stacked up here. Of course, we start with Hybrid Theory, their massive debut album that I have a lot of love and respect for, but not nearly as much as one of my favorite albums and one of the most important life-changing records for me personally. This is Meteora, and I will always cherish the fuck out of all of the memories that I have of the album itself, of course, but also getting to meet the entire band during the Hunting Party tour and getting it signed by every member of the band, including Chester Bennington. Rest in peace, Chester. I will always eternally miss your voice, your artistry, and your passion. I'm almost positive a viewer gifted me this back in the day, but this is Linkin Park's Collision Course, the mashup album that they did with Jay-Z, and it is a digipack. I have Minutes to Midnight, as well as the controversial follow-up that now I think is probably like their second best album, 1,000 Suns. This is Living Things. It certainly called back a lot more to their classic sound, if you will. I also will always, like I said, love the Hunting Party, not just for the fact that it really showed teeth. It showed a lot of aggression on this album. It's also When I Met Chester, so I'll have love for that. And the final Chester Bennington, and I would say the final Linkin Park album, I don't care what you tell me. For one of the first CD purchases that I've made in quite some time, I had to pick up a copy of what is sure to be one of my top 5 albums of the year, if not much closer to the top. It's No Stranger to You by the metalcore, is putting it lightly, band. They did so much on this album in terms of genre fusion, everything from dream pop to gent and all of the riffs and rotating vocals. Amazing stuff. Here's Memories Do Not Open by the Chainsmokers. I'm fucking with you. For all of you just listening, yeah, look back at me now. Is this the Chainsmokers? It could be in an alternate timeline, but it's not, because it's the Lonely Island, the legendary, at least to me and many other millennials, comedy trio with their second full-length album, Turtleneck and Chain. 2 moments of absolute cinema right here. It's Lord's debut album, Pure Heroine, and we also have Melodrama, my personal favorite from her, one of my favorite albums of all time. This isn't Madonna's best album, but I do have a CD copy of her first album. From a band called The Maine, I have what I think are their 2 greatest efforts, and these came back to back. This is American Candy from 2015 and Lovely Little Lonely. If you know, you know. This is Magic Wands with Aloha Moon. These are the 3 CDs that I have from Manchester Orchestra. I still love this band, and Andy Hull in particular, their frontman, mean everything to nothing. We have Simple Math as well as Cope. Marina and the Diamonds. This is her best album, I think. Fruit. Yeah, we got some Maroon 5 here for you. Their debut album, Songs About Jane. Ooh, this is a nifty little one from Matchbook Romance. Remember them from like the post-hardcore scene of the mid-2000s? This is the album Voices. It's got a little slide-out CD here, and I believe, yup, you guessed it, digipack. My Bloody Valentine. What were we thinking on this one? This thing looks like an old-ass floppy disk or something, or maybe like a mini vinyl, not even a 7-inch. Men I Trust have turned into one of my favorite bands, and I had to pick up their Forever live sessions because it features great versions of so many of their best songs. Microwave's Much Love just really scratches that itch for me still. So nostalgic for it, but I know that it's not just rose-tinted glasses. These songs and this band are genuinely great. This is Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park's debut full-length album, Post Traumatic. MGMT, Little Dark Age. Any pop punkers or emos out there remember the band Mixtapes? This is their album, Ordinary Silence. Funny how the alphabet works, because we've got 3 in a row here that are all kind of interconnected from the mid-2010s. I just showed you Mixtapes. This is Modern Baseball, and right after that comes Movements. What are we doing here? Do we just have the threesome now and play them all at the exact same time? This is my Mumford & Sons CD. I own a Mumford & Sons album. Here's my stack of Muse albums that I've collected over time. Origin of Symmetry blows the damn doors off. And if that's off the hinges, this one's taking the roof and we're getting invaded, man. It's the aliens, it's Mulder and Scully. Black Holes and Revelations was my introduction to the band. Knights of Sidonia, one of the best songs they've ever done. I do have a copy of The Resistance. Controversial, and I understand the mixed reception, but damn, is this album, it's fun. The Second Law is fun, and Drones, I don't have as much love for. I certainly don't love the packaging on this. I've got all jewel cases, and then you just drop this little dinker on me. What am I supposed to do with this? I love Paul Meany as a songwriter, as a producer, as an artist, and this is 2 albums from his band Mute Math, both their last album, Play Dead, and one that was incredibly important for me in my kind of coming-of-age story, Odd Soul. From My Chemical Romance, I unfortunately no longer have their debut album. I brought you my Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love, but I will pick that up again at some point. I shattered my last copy during moving years ago. I still have 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, featuring their classic track, one that I have tatted on myself, Helena. We also have, of course, The Black Parade. This one certainly changed my life. I've said life-changing in this video a few times. This one was probably first, alongside Meteora, American Idiot. That little trilogy right there, I can't even tell you what that did for my little soul. I've got a copy of Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys as well, the OG, of course. And fun fact, this is actually the second album that I bought that restarted my CD collection after 21st Century Breakdown. May Death Never Stop You, and the 10-year re-release, The Black Parade, Living with Ghosts, one of my favorite albums of all time still. Hard to believe it's over 15 years old now. It's Passive Me, Aggressive You by the New Zealand indie pop alternative band The Naked and Famous. The pop punk band Neck Deep and their 2015 album, and in my personal opinion, their masterpiece, Life's Not Out to Get You. Here's the debut album by The Neighborhood, a band that I don't care for at all, but I still have some affection for the debut album I Love You, because this album was the first album that was ever sent to me in advance for review, like on ARTV, all the way back in 2013. Oh man, this one, just look at that photograph, man. I don't even know what's on Joey's head there, but I can just say that they had all the right reasons for putting this record together. Nickelback. I'm holding the Holy Grail, not only one of my favorites of all time, but widely considered one of the best albums of all time. The packaging is a little bit more complex on this one, but I do appreciate that we've got the thin jewel case inside of some paper packaging, but still, it's got a thicker spine. Both of them right now are from the 1975. This is their first 2 full-length albums. The self-titled record, which features a lot of their classic singles from The City to Girls and Chocolate. And we have what I think is their magnum opus, I Like It When You Sleep, For You Are So Beautiful Yet So Unaware of It. From the iconic grunge band Nirvana, I have both Nevermind as well as their Unplugged in New York live concert. That's wild, I just realized I have more No Doubt CDs than Nirvana. As the years have gone by, I've certainly come to favor Return of Saturn as their best record over even Tragic Kingdom, and also Rocksteady. These are the first 2 albums by the British alternative rock band Nothing But Thieves, both the self-titled album and the phenomenal record that came after that, Broken Machine. Don't let the unassuming nature of the Now Now album Threads from 2012 fool you. This is a signed copy, and it was also the first in-person band interview that I ever did, and as I shook their hands at the end, I was just like, thank you for putting the CD out on Digipack. Digipack, I've said it so many times at this point that I'm lost. It doesn't feel like a word anymore. As we all know, the best album from The Offspring is Days Go By. This album is overhated though, I'll say that. There's a lot of elements going on here with Of Montreal's Hissing Fauna, Are You the Destroyer? You can see it folds back up, plastic sleeve protector for it. I have 5 Owl City albums. Man, I was down bad for Adam Young, like circa 2008 to 2013. An assortment of Panic at the Disco for you. None without the exclamation point. In fact, I don't have Pretty Odd. I do have A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, the one that I was very, very excited for. This came out my first year of college, Vices and Virtues. And then we have Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die, featuring maybe their best song, This Is Gospel. My fingers can only stretch so far, but we've got all of my Paramore CDs in frame here. I have most of their albums on that format. We start with their debut album, All We Know Is Falling, with that iconic couch shot. We've got Riot, the follow-up that broke them in the mainstream. I think their masterpiece still standing as their top record, which obviously is debatable among many, but I would say Brand New Eyes still takes the crown. We have the self-titled album, navigating through the many changes of the band. It's wild that they've stayed as consistent as they have. And also I have After Laughter, featuring what have become some of my favorite songs and some of the most relatable, I guess, as an adult, as I feel like I've grown up with the band. The iconic debut album 10 by the grunge band Pearl Jam. 2 CDs from the post-hardcore band Pierce the Veil. This album blew my mind the first time I listened to it. It's Collide with the Sky. Sky, and the follow-up Misadventures. It features a couple of what I think are their best songs. My personal favorite, Gold Medal Ribbon, Floral and Fading is on here. It's just ridiculously good top to bottom. Oh, do we have a digipack? I do believe we do. Thank you so much, Poppy. Some would say I disagree. Oh, you're gonna be so pissed, guys. What did I just pick up? Not one, but 2 digipacks from the same band? That level of consistency has not been seen throughout my collection. So shout out to Portugal the Man. This is their album Evil Friends. The CD is actually in my car right now in the car player. And then we have one that I was gifted because I was a part of the marketing campaign for Woodstock. The Dream Is Over, a smashing punk LP from Canada by the band Pup. Oh, I'm sorry, Puppy. Did you want to be in the frame? Did you want to be in the frame? It's Pup and Pupper. Thank you. Another Canadian band here, actually an electronic music duo. This is Purity Ring with their album Another Eternity. From Queens of the Stone Age, I have completed my vinyl collection with them, still missing a couple of CDs here, but I do have the self-titled album from the 90s, and then at the dawn of the 21st century, Rated R. One that's considered their magnum opus by many, but not quite my favorite personally. This is Songs for the Deaf. I don't have Era Vulgaris, but I do have Lullabies to Paralyze and Like Clockwork that surround it. I have this album in particular to thank for getting me into much more of like a stoner rock, alternative rock sound when I was a teenager. And I also have Villains, which has this slide-out case just like Clockwork. A Moon-Shaped Pool by Radiohead. This is unfortunately the only CD I have for this band at this point, but it is the album, oddly enough, that made me fall in love with Radiohead. I know that wouldn't probably be most people's entry point. I have a weird assortment of 3 CDs from the Chili Peppers. I have a lot more on vinyl, but I do have their greatest hits. I have Stadium Arcadium, a double album that I have to thank for getting me into them in the first place, one of my favorite bands. We do have the Digipack going on in here, but beyond that, I just think this is really cool packaging for the CD. I also have the Getaway, and it's just a shame the CD packaging for this is so flimsy. Reliant K are an important band to me, along with Switchfoot, because growing up at a super religious, strict Christian household, this was one of the only things that I was allowed from the rock music world. And this more pop-punk leaning album, one of the first burned CDs that I actually ever made for myself. And then Forget and Not Slow Down. As you get older, you start to realize this is their best album. Pepto-Bismol Pink right here for Remo Drive, and their debut album, Greatest Hits. A bold move, but it's one that certainly paid off for them. I'm actually in the liner notes of the album in the thank yous section, and I can also say a thank you to them for putting this on Digipack. If you were a fan of the alt nation scene, then you'll probably remember Robert DeLong. This is his album In the Cards. Yin and Yang over here, at least in terms of color coordination. We have Royal Blood with their first 2 full-length albums. This is the self-titled album and the jewel case edition of How Did We Get So Dark. But what I love about the debut album, similar to that Jack White CD I showed you, it can be a little misleading. It has more of a paper front on it, but you open it up and it's almost like DVD casing in here holding the CD intact, and it's a lot stronger. Matching again, both of these CDs actually have consistency. It just feels like bands and labels don't pay attention to that for collectors sometimes, but both of these Run the Jewels records, RTJ2, RTJ3, featuring some fantastic artwork, do have consistency in terms of the kind of gatefold feel that we get. These 2 bands make sense to include together because they're both from the mainstream rock, radio world. I have Seether holding on the strings better left to Fray, and I think it's a hot take to say that maybe I think this is my favorite Seether album. I also have The Sound of Madness by Shinedown, featuring some really, really emotional tracks that I did not listen to for a long time. Listened to again recently, and Second Chance, man, cut me like an onion knife. I have 2 albums from Silver Sun Pickups. Their sophomore album, Swoon, featuring one of my favorite, I'm talking like top 25 songs of all time, Panic Switch. This one, indeed, is exactly what you were hoping for. It's on the Digipack, okay? But the follow-up, Neck of the Woods, very disappointed in the packaging here. This is just another one one of those, like, okay, it looks like you just shoved it in an envelope type things. Self-censoring this one because it got me in trouble last time I showed it with YouTube. This is Nighttime My Time by Sky Ferreira, and anytime, Sky, that you're able to, please drop that next album. Hope you're ready to drop the bass. A pair of albums from Skrillex, the Bangarang EP, and Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. Back when there were still 3 of them in the band, as seen in the artwork here, this is Slater Kenny with their comeback album after 10 years between this and The Woods. This is No Cities to Love. Bringing the noise once again with some noise pop and also some guitars layered on there because it's the duo Sleigh Bells. Irregardless of what's going on in Camp Slipknot right now, I do have Point 5, the Gray Chapter. This is some actually really great packaging here. I appreciate that we've got the Digipack edition packed in, and we also have some great artwork that folds out here, and we have actually attached lyrics, which is nice. You don't see that a ton. I feel like I'm doing blind pulls on Pokemon packs right now because, guys, you're not gonna believe it. We pulled another Digipack over here. It's Soccer Mommy's album Clean. Interestingly enough, this was my final CD purchase for a while. I got Brave Faces Everyone, my AOTY for 2020. Many people in the rock and emo community and just music at large fell in love with this album and crowned it Album of the Year, deservingly so. Hot thoughts in my mind all the time might sound strange, and you might misinterpret that actually, but it's actually an album by the band Spoon, an alternative rock band that have just been so consistent since the early 90s, and they did bless us with the Digipack edition of this 2017 album. Annie Clark, aka St. Vincent, with the self-titled album here, also my introduction to her catalog. Pop-out edition with the jewel case underneath. This is Proper Dose by the pop-punk band The Story so far. It's my favorite album from them as somebody who had a hard time getting into them for a while. This was the album that broke through. What? Only 2 albums from The Strokes? And it's Is This It in Angles? From the UK, this is the debut album from the glam rockers The Struts. It's called Everybody Wants. I'll be shocked if anybody remembers this band, but it's Python Surfer Blood on the Digipack. It does have that going for it. 2 albums from the Canadian rockers Sum 41, All Killer No Filler, their electric debut, as well as the misunderstood Screaming Bloody Murder. I mentioned Switchfoot being important to me earlier, and these were the 2 CDs that just stayed in rotation for a while in my youth. The Beautiful Letdown from 2003 and Nothing Is Sound from 06. Psych, I actually have 2 more Switchfoot albums, Hello Hurricane and Vice Verses. We don't need to dwell on it, but I do have this derpy little CD and a tiny ass little floppy ass disc cover here. It's Drive North by Swimmers. System of a Down, my beloved. I have both Hypnotize, Mesmerize, the 2 CD pack. They released 2 albums the same year, 2005, the year that I got into them. And this is the Digipack Gatefold. I love this artwork and the way that this all expands. Easily one of my favorite CDs in my entire collection. A trio of albums from the emo band Taking Back Sunday. Easily my personal favorite, Louder Now. This album is just full of rockets. A moment of silence for the cracks in Louder Now's case. I'm quivering in my boots over here. I'm holding 2 masterpieces in my hands. Tame Impala's Lonerism and Currents, and both of these, boom, bang, are Digipacks. I have a signed copy of They Might Be Giants. I Like Fun. I kind of like the staggered, broken typography. It looks like it's been through the paper shredder or something. And this was a gift from a viewer back in the day named Andrew. Were you even angsty in the 2000s if you didn't own at least one 3 Days Grace CD? I don't think you were. I have the self-titled album 1X, which I think is their masterpiece. Also, I have this album to thank for being the first video that I ever released under ARTV. Used to be Album Review TV. This is Life Starts Now. 30 Seconds to Mars, A Beautiful Lie, fuck Jared Leto, fuck the fact that I like some of the songs on this CD so much that it's like I can't unchain myself fully, but God, what a monster. 303 are coming back around in terms of popularity. This is their album Want, and fun fact, 303 were actually my first real concert. The return of Tool was such a huge occasion that I had to buy the CD book edition of Fear Inoculum. I'm not sure if I stand by that purchase now, and I don't necessarily love the way that the CD is just kind of in a sleeve with all of this. It does have a ton of cool artwork in there, and also, as you're seeing now, it does come with like some 3D holographic artwork, which is cool. I actually need to hang more of this up because I never got around to it. Tuvlo's debut album, Queen of the Clouds. Regular show fans, you'll know when I say Trash Boat. This is their debut album, a pop punk band, at least in that era. I bought this CD at Warped Tour 2018 and got it signed by their frontman when we met him after the show. This was another recent pickup, Glow On by Turnstile. I think like a modern classic, one that so many people are going to point to as being one of the great albums of the 2020s. TOP fans, rise up. The pilots are in the building, 21 of them specifically. I have Vessel. This is a jewel case. We have a digipack edition of their breakout album, one that was just like inescapable. This is Blurry Face. And I also have the slide out edition, jewel case still, of Trench. I truly believe this is their best album by a comfortable margin. I don't have much to say here. I have Vulnerable by The Used. This is the indie band Vinyl Theater, who were done so dirty by their label Fueled by Ramen. Still not over that. The nicest guys who I got the chance to interview back in the day. This is their album Origami, featuring a couple of my favorite songs ever, My Fault, and the particularly emotional that feels very specific and relatable for me, Pull Your Weight. Very mixed feelings on the Voids and Julian Casablancas these days, but this is Virtue, an album that flirted with auto-tune in a much more productive way. This is a very strange album, but a ton of bangers buried in it. You know it's 2010's core when I'm breaking out the Walk the Moon CDs, the self-titled album, and just banger after banger. Talking is Hard. Double Your Water Parks, Double Your Fun. Double Dare and Fandom by Water Parks on Digipack, and you wouldn't believe it, Fandom also came on one. Came on one? I gotta work on wording. Okay, Weezerites, it's your time to rise up and look at the Weezer collection right now. We, of course, have Blue, the self-titled album, one of many. Its follow-up, Pinkerton, which later, rightfully so, people came around on. Everything Will Be Alright in the End, and the White Album. How many days are there on the weekend? Two. Beauty Behind the Madness and The Highlights. An assortment of White Stripes albums here. I have White Blood Cells as well as the classic album, I think their best album, Elephant, the first one that introduced me to the band, Get Behind Me Satan. We also have their final album, I hate to even say those words, Icky Thump, So Good, as well as My Sister Thanks You and I Thank You, the greatest hits. From the UK, Wolf Alice are literally on the level of Green Day at this point for me. They are pretty much my favorite band. It's so neck and neck. But these CDs, they're not cutting it, man. This is Blue Weekend that came with the vinyl. I do have Visions of a Life, and then this one came in the vinyl box set. It's My Love Is Cool, their debut, but all of these are pretty flimsy. Also hailing from the UK and hopefully putting out a new album relatively soon, it's the XX with their debut album as well as I See You. I have such fond memories of this one in particular. From the pop punk band Yellowcard, I have both When You're Through Thinking Say Yes and Southern Air. Young the Giant are known, but somehow still so underappreciated. Samir Gadia, one of my favorite vocalists out there. This is the self-titled album, as well as Home of the Strange, no skips. And finally, at the end of the alphabet, it's Z. I am surprised, but also glad that I do have one that represents Z. This is True Colors, and there are some great collaborations on here with Troye Sivan, probably my favorite in particular on Paper Cut, but also a decent feature from Jon Bellion on here too, and I'm not even a fan of his. Alright neighbor, that's the entire collection. Let me know in the comment section down below which albums you would steal from the collection and which ones you think I should add. If you want to see more of those videos, they're on screen now. Thank you for watching, for liking, subscribe if you're new in town, and I'll see you next time right here on Beyond ARTV.